Good day, ENG1P. Miss Boshcoff here. Let's take a look at the study package that was handed out to many of you, or that some of you are going to be just downloading and printing on your own, if you can print. And if you can't print, you're just going to write out the questions on a separate piece of paper and answer them on your own in preparation for the quizzes. So again, we are tackling our novel study by taking a look at about five chapters per section. So we've already finished the first section, chapters 1 to 5, and today we're going to be reading and analyzing the second section, which is chapters 6 to 10. But before we do that, let's go through this study package. Let's just go over the expectations here. All right, so again, here's the title of our novel, The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. Please note, Hammarskjold High School has gone APE. Now, going APE means that students now have the tools they need to effectively answer questions in preparation for the literacy test. So again, you don't write the literacy test until next year, but our students here at Hammarskjold are doing really well, and I think it's because we do a fair amount of preparation work in grade 9, which I think is necessary and reasonable. Okay, let's take a look at number 2 here. APE is something students will use both when answering questions orally in class and when writing out the answers to questions on assignments or tests. And again, this is something that you will definitely use on the literacy test next year. So what does literacy mean? Well, all literacy means is just your ability to read and write. That's it. Literacy just means reading and writing. So this literacy test is supposed to be a test of your reading and writing skills, and the ministry or the province just wants to make sure that you are reading and writing at least a grade 10 level. Okay? All right, so stated briefly, APE works something like this. So APE is what we're going to use to put all of our writing together. It's the formula that we're going to use. So the very first thing that we're going to do in the paragraph or the piece of writing is answer the question. Now, you need to take part of that question and put it in your answer. If you don't do that, you're not going to get full marks on the literacy test. Okay? So the A part is worth 10 marks for the short answers on the literacy test. P is where you need to provide some proof, and this proof must be specific. Now, the most specific type of proof that you can supply or provide in these types of cases, if it's based on a reading, is to give a quotation. So you're going to look for a quotation from the text to back up your answer here. Now, some students think that they need to find dialogue as quotations. Absolutely not. Any quote from the book, even if it's not two people talking, can be a quote. So don't worry about just finding dialogue. Anything that's written, a description, or any sentence or part of a sentence can be used as a quotation. You need to pull it out though and make sure that you put quotation marks around it. Okay, extend or explain. Now, some students find this last part the hardest because this is the part where they have to come up with some kind of an explanation. They explain a little bit more. That's all you need to do here. Just explain a little bit more. Now, if the question only contains one question, you're going to answer that question in the A part. So you answer that first question in the A part. If there are two questions, the first question is going to be answered in the A part, and the second question is your extension. So it's actually a little bit easier if there are two questions because you don't have to come up with your own explanation. You just have to answer the second question in the E part of your paragraph. All right, so all written answers for all classes will be going APE at Hammarskjold High School. This will be very good news because there will no longer be any confusion about how to format your answers. Now, some teachers are using some different organizing strategies like SIE or PEE, but they're all basically the exact same as APE. Another really good thing is that APE is so easy to learn. When students pre-plan their answers, they are more organized, they are on topic, and they make more sense. So we want to make sure that we use APE for these reasons. Number 3, For these writing tasks, the best type of pre-planning is to use some kind of an outline or a concept map. Now, this here is a concept map. It's also sometimes called a bubble organizer or a bubble map. And each writing task in this study package must make use of a concept map. Now, at this point, we're not going to be putting these questions together in paragraphs. All that I want you to do is put your bubble map or your pre-planning, your brainstorming together in a bubble map. So we know we're going to use APE, right? Answer, prove, extend. And we did go through this at the beginning of the year, where the A part is going to be worth 10 marks. So if you answer the question correctly and you take part of the question and put it in your answer, you're going to get 10 marks. The P part is where you need to provide some proof. And again, we said that proof needs to be specific. And we also said that the most specific type of proof is are quotations. So we're going to pull quotations, any line in the novel. We're going to put quotation marks around it to indicate it comes from the novel. It's another source. And we're going to put proof in the middle part because that's the proof part. Now, if we provide good specific proof, like quotes, they're going to give us 10 marks here. Now, the extension here is again where you are going to explain a little bit more. So explain more. If you're able to explain a little bit more, they're going to give you another 10 marks. That's going to give you your full mark of 30 out of 30 on these short answers on the literacy test. So we're going to be putting our answers together to mimic what it is that you are expected to do on the literacy test. And that, of course, makes sense because we are preparing you for the expectations on the literacy test next year. So again, that makes absolute sense that we use the same formatting. Okay, so we watched a fair number of videos about Sherman Alexie and about his life. So the question is, and this is just an exemplar, it's just an example of how you are going to put your answers together. So remember, an exemplar is just a really good example of what you need to do. Okay, so fancy word, it just means a really good example of what you need to do. So let's take a look at the question. What is Sherman Alexie like? So we need to take part of this question and we need to put it in our answer. Sherman Alexie is, so here we're taking part of the question, we're putting it in our answer. Sherman Alexie is an interesting person. Does it answer that question? Yes, it does. Does it take part of the question and put it in your answer? Yes, it does. You're going to get 10 out of 10. So good job. Next, we need to provide some proof. Now, we watched, a few videos. This person here used the fact that he was bipolar as proof that he is an interesting person. Now, if this was a reading text, we could also include a quote. Proof number 2 here is that he sees the world through different eyes. He wants to be perfect like a cello. Yeah, so that is pretty interesting, right? There's proof number 2. So has this person provided good proof, specific proof? Yes, they have. They're going to get 10 out of 10. Now they need to put their own extension together because there's only one question here. We said up here, if there's only one question, you answer that question in the A part. If there are 2 questions, then the second question is the answer to the E part, the extension. So it makes it a little bit easier. So there's only one question here, so that means we need to come up with our own extension. I learned that Sherman Alexie is a strong and interesting writer who is well respected. Does that explain a little bit more? It sure does. They're going to get 10 out of 10. This person would get 30 out of 30 on this question on the literacy test. Okay, let's take a look at our study guide. What we're going to do this time that we didn't do for section 1 is we're going to make use of a reading strategy that is also a time-saving strategy. And again, this strategy is something that we're going to use on the literacy test. The deal with this, though, is that you just have to remember to do it. If you take the time to read the questions before you actually read the novel, it is a time-saving strategy because it gives your mind a pre-hint of what it is you need to look for the answers, right? The answers that you need to look for. So let's take a look here. Chapter 6, which is the next section. We're on to section number 2. Why does Junior want to go to Rearden? How do his parents react? So we have 2 questions here. The first question is our A answer. So we need to answer that question right here. So that one goes right there. We know if there's a second question, that question goes in, whoops, wrote on my table, goes in the E part right there, right? So answer, prove, and extend. So that's going to be our answer to the E part. So again, we're going to take part of the question and we're going to put it in our answer here. Why does Junior want to go to Rearden? Junior wants to go to Rearden because, and then you answer that question. The P part here, you're going to take some kind of specific proof or quote right from the novel, put it there. So here we have you're going to put a quote there. Some kind of a little quote is going to go there. And then hopefully find another little quote that you're going to put there. So you'll have 2 quotes for support and you're going to get 10 out of 10. So again, remember, the A part is out of 10. The P part is out of 10. And your extension is going to be out of 10. And again, your total mark is out of 30. So in this case, because we have a second question, it's a little bit easier. That is the answer to the E part. We don't have to come up with our own extension. So how do his parents react? So you would write in here, Junior's parents react by, or their reaction is, Junior's parents' reaction is, and then you answer that, okay? And this is the A, the P, and the E to the paragraph, right? We're going to put all of this together into a paragraph on the unit test. Okay, so let's go ahead and read all of the questions here for this next section. There aren't a lot of questions, but again, reading them beforehand is a time-saving strategy. So let's take a look here. Number 1 here for chapter 7. How does Rowdy react to Junior's decision to move schools? So again, here's our A part. There's 2 questions here, so this is a little bit easier. Here's our E part. So A goes here, the answer goes here, and the E part goes here, right? And you just need to find proof or quotes. So how does Rowdy react to Junior's decision to move schools? Why does he react in this way? Okay. Chapter 8. Why is Junior deemed to have betrayed his tribe? Why do people think, in other words, why do people think Junior betrayed his people, his tribe, his people? So we're going to answer here. There's only one question. People think that Junior betrayed his tribe because. Maybe I'll even give you the answers here. So, well, no, I've already given them to you. How does Junior, or why is Junior deemed to have betrayed his tribe? People think Junior betrayed his tribe because. And then you provide quotes. And in this case, there's only one question. So you need to come up with your own extension here. Chapter 9. What is Junior's grandmother's advice? Junior's grandmother's advice is. Then you provide quotes from the book, and then you come up with your own extension here. Chapter 10. Tears of a Clown. What does Junior's story about Dawn prove to the reader? Junior's story about Dawn proves to the reader that. Okay, and that is the end of section 2 for chapters 6 to 10. So we're going to read through chapters 6 to 10 right now. If you don't have a copy of the novel, That's okay too, because I'm going to share my actual teacher's version here, my annotated version with you. So you can just read along if you do not have your own copy. All right. So let's take a look here. I'm just going to get set up here on a little prop that helps me keep this straight. All right. So chapter 6. Go means go. So remember in the previous chapter here, we had Mr. P telling Junior, you can't give up. You won't give up. He said, you fought off everything that you had to fight off so that you could find hope somewhere. And he said, now what you have to do is take your hope and go somewhere where other people have hope. What he's talking about, of course, is he's suggesting that Junior leave his reserve and go to Reardon High School, where Mr. P is suggesting that people have more hope. So the question here is, should he stay on his res, or should he go somewhere else and see if he can find more hope? Because Mr. P says if he stays on his res, a lot of people on his res don't have high hope to do better in life. So Mr. P says, no, Junior, you have to go away. You're going to go find more and more hope the further and further you walk away from his sad, sad reservation. All right, so let's take a look here. What does Junior decide to do here in chapter 6? After Mr. P left, I sat on the porch for a long time and thought about my life. What the heck was I supposed to do? I felt like life had just knocked me on my ass. I was so happy when Mom and Dad got home from work. Hey, little man, Dad said. Hey, Dad, Mom. Junior, why are you looking so sad? Mom asked. She knew stuff. I didn't know how to start, so I just started with the biggest question. So again, here's his cartoons, right? We know he likes to draw cartoons. All ass-kicking bruises look like Texas. Interesting. Who has the most hope? I asked. Mom and Dad looked at each other. They studied each other's eyes. You know, like they had antennas and were sending radio signals to each other. And then they both looked back at me. Come on, I said. Who has the most hope? White people, my parents said at the same time. That's exactly what I thought they were going to say. So I said the most surprising thing they'd ever heard from me. I want to transfer schools, I said. You want to go to the Hunters? Mom said. It's another school on the west end of the reservation, filled with poor Indians and poorer white kids. Yes, there is a place in the world where the white people are poorer than the Indians. No, I said. You want to go to Springdale, Dad asked. It's a school on the reservation border filled with the poorest Indians and poorer than poorest white kids. Yes, there is a place in the world where the white people are even poorer than you ever thought possible. I want to go to Reardon, I said. Reardon is the rich white farm town that sits in the wheat fields exactly 22 miles away from my res. And it's a hick town, I suppose, filled with farmers and rednecks and racist cops who stop every Indian that drives through. During 1 week when I was little, Dad got stopped 3 times for DWI, driving while Indian. So again, this suggests that, yeah, the cops are pretty darn racist, eh? But Reardon has one of the best small schools in the state, with a computer room and huge chemistry lab and a drama club and 2 basketball gyms. The kids in Reardon are the smartest and the most athletic kids anywhere. They are the best. I want to go to Reardon, I said again. I couldn't believe I was saying it. For me, it seemed as real as saying, I want to fly to the moon. Are you sure? My parents asked. Yes, I said. When do you want to go? My parents asked. Right now, I said. Tomorrow. Are you sure? My parents asked. You could maybe wait until the semester break or until next year, get a fresh start. No, if I don't go now, I never will. I have to do it now. Okay, they said. Yep, it was that easy with my parents. So again, here's the answer to one of the questions we just went over, right? So lots of quotes here that you could take to put in as your proof. It was almost like they'd been waiting for me to ask them if I could go to Reardon, like they were psychics or something. I mean, they've always known that I'm weird and ambitious, so maybe they expect me to do the weirdest things possible. And going to Reardon is truly a strange idea. But it isn't weird that my parents so quickly agreed with my plans. They want a better life for my sister and me. So again, here's some more proof for that question in the study guide. My sister is running away to get lost, but I am running away because I want to find something. And my parents love me so much that they want to help me. Yeah, Dad is a drunk and Mom is an ex-drunk, but they don't want their kids to be drunks. It's going to be hard to get you to Reardon, Dad said. We can't afford to move there, and there ain't no school bus going to come out here. You'll be the first one ever to leave the res this way, Mom said. The Indians around here are going to be angry with you. Shoot, I figure that my 5 fellow tribal members are going to torture me, and torture him probably even more. We know he's already a member of that Black Eye of the Club month because he gets beat up so much already. So the fact that he is going to leave his res is going to make some people in his res think that he thinks he's better than them. So that might make them really angry, that it looks like Junior thinks he's better than the rest of them. Okay, let's take a look here at chapter 7. Rowdy sings the blues. So we know who Rowdy is. Rowdy is Junior's best friend on the reserve, right? Tough, tough, tough guy. So the day after I decided to transfer to Reardon, and after my parents agreed to make it happen, I walked over to the tribal school and found Rowdy sitting in his usual place on the playground. He was alone, of course. Everybody was scared of him. I thought you were on a suspension, dickwad, he said, which was Rowdy's way of saying, I'm happy you're here. Kiss my ass, I said. I wanted to tell him that he was my best friend and that I loved him like crazy. But boys didn't say such things to other boys, and nobody said such things to Rowdy. Can I tell you a secret, I asked? It better not be girly, he said. It's not. Okay, then tell me. I'm transferring to Reardon. Rowdy's eyes narrowed. His eyes always narrowed right before he beat the crap out of someone. I started shaking. That's not funny, he said. It's not supposed to be funny, I said. I'm transferring to Reardon. I want you to come with me. And when are you going to go on this imaginary journey? It's not imaginary, it's real. And I'm transferring now. I start school tomorrow at Reardon. You better quit saying that, he said. You're getting me mad. I didn't want him to get mad. When Rowdy got mad, it took him days to get unmad. But he was my best friend, and I wanted him to know the truth. I'm not trying to get you mad, I said. I'm telling the truth. I'm leaving the res, man. And I want you to come with me. Come on, it'll be an adventure. I don't even drive through that town, he said. What makes you think I want to go to school there? He got up, stared me hard in the eyes, and then spit on the floor. Last year, during 8th grade, we traveled to Reardon to play them in flag football. Rowdy was our star quarterback and kicker and middle linebacker, and I was the loser water boy. And we lost to Reardon by the score of 45-0. Of course, losing isn't exactly fun. Nobody wants to be a loser. We all got really mad and vowed to kick their asses the next time. But 2 weeks after that, Reardon came to the res and beat us 56-10. During basketball season, Reardon beat us 72-45 and 86-50. Our only 2 losses of the season. Okay, so we need to know here that this is establishing that reared in